Made me clean up my room too. This room used to be a disaster. I think I showed Montag one time. I think I flipped the camera over and it looked like a hurricane went through here.
I'm jealous of your collection, dude. I thought I was a super savant. Fuck that. I'm semi.
No, you're just a regular savant. Vic's a super savant.
With this collection, man, I know at least 10 people that this collection is small to them. Like I know individuals that have those shelves that slide in front of each other.
Yeah.
Just an entire wall in their house. They have, tens of thousands of CDs.
Wow.
So, I mean, I've whittled this down over the years and kind of tried to make it more compact. I'm not trying to, get full discographies anymore. Like I had Ozzy's. I think I started with Ozzy's Down to Earth. I bought that record and I was like, there was like one song on it I liked and the rest of it was absolute trash. And I think that's when I decided like, I don't need to keep this record. Like it's garbage. Right. And I sort of started doing that. Like, because I used to be a complete the discography guy.
Yeah. I'm kind of in between. And it depends.
Right.
It depends what bands too,
Yep, I've gone back to that. Like it depends on the band at this point for me. Yeah. Like, I'm gonna get the shitty one. I don't care.
Like the ones we really love and stuff. You want to? I love to give that support because
right.
That's how they make a living and stuff. And if you really enjoy, you're a true fan, then I think that pays off for both.
Yeah, exactly.
Get good music and they get support. So
big CD energy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Large CD. large collection.
Collector's curse, man. Fuck.
And I got a small cassette collection too. You can see part of it over here.
Okay.
And I got some on the wall over here. And
you like to collect rare cassettes from indie bands?
It depends. If it's metal and rock, yeah, I do.
I got two very rare cassettes from a famous college band.
Oh my God, here we go. Here we go.
No, man, I would take them. I would absolutely. I think I asked you for demos.
Well, Charlotte's Web, we never released an official cassette, but I'm talking about the Escape Fetal Pigs, brother.
Yep, man.
I got the first album, the self-titled, the eponymous Escape Fetal Pigs. There were only 30 of those made, and then Devil's Food was a wild success. We made 50 of those, so
yeah, man,
completely sold out.
Yeah, you guys went bubble wrap, didn't you?
Plastic. We went plastic.
Yeah.
Plastic. Yeah, that's right.
Sleeved plastic.
Yeah.
That's when you hit 100.
Yeah, so I messaged him to make sure he still knows that we're doing this. He's usually pretty. I don't know if he's running on rock and roll time, but he's usually all for this stuff. So I did hit him up and say, hey, there he is, right there, Steve. Like fucking
there he is.
There he is.
Clockwork, man.
As we speak.
Look at that.
Hello.
How's it going, man?
Buddy?
Hey, wow, I did it. It worked.
You did it. You're here.
I'm a Zoom champion.
You know so many things, DK.
I'm just multi-talented, apparently. No, I suck at computers. I'm really bad at it. So I'm shocked. I'm shocked that one, I'm on time, and two, I do what inputs went where, and it all works.
I literally just messaged you too to make sure. I was like, I know he knows, but I'm gonna send you a text or a message anyways and bother you.
Yeah, I just got out of bed, so I had alarm clock set. I'm not usually up this early, so I've got coffee.
Is time different in Canada? Is it 4
No,
o'clock?
time's different for DK.
Oh, okay.
That's 4. It's 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
The special bubble of rock and roll time.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
DK's time.
Well, thank you for coming out of bed so early, dragging yourself out of bed for us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. Is everything okay? Is my audio good? You can hear me?
Yeah, great.
Yeah, it's
great.
great.
Perfect. Awesome.
Yeah, it's good.
I like the ambiance there. The red lighting in the back. That's nice and evil. That's cool.
Yeah, it took me like at least 15 minutes to figure that out as well. So I'm glad you liked it.
It looks great.
Excellent. Oh, cool. We are going to have a good time, Daniel. And we're just really glad that you have some time for us. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course, man. Well, I mean, Vic asked me to do it, and Vic Stone has been taking care of me since I was 19 years old. So it's
He's like my kid.
Yeah, anything for him anytime. Anything for him anytime.
Nice.
Well, that's great. Well, he said you were gonna give us like a 5-hour interview, so we are in for the long haul. So
If you made a whole pot of coffee.
that's right. Yeah, you better grab some sandwiches. We're in. Cool. Excellent. Well, we'll just get right into this. So we're going to do our cheesy intro that Dreadbull loves so much. And then we're just going to get into it. We're going to have a good time, man.
Woo!
All right.
Pumped.
Greetings from Tromaville. I'm Lloyd Kaufman, president of Troma Entertainment and creator of George Clooney. When I feel, I could watch something really profound, really amusing, educational, the Troma team and I, we like to kick back and watch heavy metal horror podcasts because, when we're not making those movies like Romeo and Juliet and hashtag Shakespeare Shitstorm and Class of Nukem High, there's nothing else in the world for us except that heavy metal podcast. Say it with me. Heavy metal horror podcast. Thank you, Montag and Chapter.
I am Montag, master of illusion. What goes up must come down, but not always.
Hey, this is Chop Top and keep it heavy.
And Dreadbull.
Wildcard.
And you are watching and listening to Heavy Metal Horror. Ooh, kitties. Tonight we have got a great show. Ooh, so excited. From the land above us in the north, our great neighbors.
Great Canada.
Great Canada. We have Daniel Dekay from Diemonds, Exciter, and Banger TV. Daniel, welcome to Heavy Metal Horror, man.
Thanks, Montag. I felt really unprepared for that intro. I didn't realize that was going to be so epic. I enjoyed
No
that.
one gets the memo. Nobody gets the memo.
Yeah,
Well, you know what?
take
When we
that,
do our
Dreadbull.
outro, you can join us. You'll be able to bring your horns up. You'll be having a great time.
Elevate the epic for us.
That's
Yes.
right. That's right. Excellent.
From our worst critic, yeah.
That's right.
You got it, Dreadbull.
So, all right. Well, hey, let's get rolling, man. That way you can get back to napping and if you need. So let's start with some big picture stuff. Like, for people who don't know you, like what attracted you to metal as a genre?
I was really lucky to have cool young parents who were still in their like hard rock and heavy metal phase when I was growing up. So I mean, going through my dad's record collection or driving his Camaro with him, it was always like Judas Priest and Iron Maiden. He was one of those guys. He's like very much missed the, Led Zeppelin may have been his favorite band of all time, but he was very much always like, I'd rather listen to Iron Maiden than The Who. He was always like, screw classic rock. I'm much more new wave British heavy metal. So records like Violence and Force and Fistful of Metal and Unleashed in the East were honestly some of the earliest cassettes and vinyl that I had. So I'm really lucky that I had that because, I mean, a lot of people have to discover that shit on their own and don't find it till high school or whatnot. And I was really lucky that I was like 5 and 6 years old driving around with my dad listening to like classic slabs of molten metal. It was pretty, I was lucky that way for sure.
That's good parenting right there.
Totally.
Yeah. So
Your dad had a Camaro. That's awesome. We should
Yeah.
have him on.
Yeah. So when it came time to doing Valentine's Day's cards, you were drawing Eddie, and everyone else is drawing Cupid.
Yeah, exactly. Ed was always my Valentine.
Yeah, be my power slave.
Yes, exactly.
Nice. Teacher's pulling you aside now, Mr. Dekay. That's awesome. So would you say that those bands were early influences on your musical career?
Oh yeah, totally. Like bands like Kiss, Maiden, Priest, pretty much and AC/DC even too, like pretty much like some of the earliest stuff that my dad was playing for me. I took a heavy liking to Kiss. I think that's because I was so young, and all the artwork and over the top, stories and videos of their 70s shows were kind of like blowing my mind as a kid. But I'm really, those early bands were everything to me, and still are too. Like, still some of my favorite bands.
Nice. Hear that, Dreadbull? You hear that?
He likes
Kiss,
Kiss too,
motherfucker.
Dread.
Hell yeah.
Yes, he does.
So look it up, Dreadbull.
That's right. He doesn't get that reference. Look it up. What do you mean?
Yeah, I get it. I
That's
get it.
Okay.
Just because I'm not a fan don't mean I know what they're all about.
So can you remember the very first album that you bought, like with your own money?
Yeah, like I was lucky that my dad had a wealth of CDs, cassettes, and vinyl and VHS. Holy shit, my dad had a movie store in the basement. It was awesome. So I was lucky that I didn't really have to buy albums on my own until I got, a little bit older. And by that time I wasn't really buying metal stuff. I was buying more of the music that was coming out at that time that kids my age were listening to. I was buying like punk records and like Offspring Americana is like one of the earliest ones I remember buying with my own money, because I never really had to buy anything before that. Cause I would go down to the basement and be like, hey dad, like I got a new Walkman. Like what should I listen to? And he'd give me like a stack. He's like, here's Anthrax, here's Slayer, here's Metallica, here's some more. Oh, this is a Priest record that you haven't heard yet. This one's got a different lead singer on it. You got to check this era out. Just like really, giving me all the staples. So I was fortunate that I really didn't have to do a lot of discovering on my own and buying records and trial and error. Like my dad really sorted through all the bullshit and just kind of guided me down the right road.
That's great. I know from previous interviews, you're a big fan of the decade of the 80s. I know you're a little young to have grown up in the 80s, unlike most of us on this show. We all grew up, thankfully. What was it about the 80s? Was it just that influence, that heavy influence from your dad and all that music? And
yeah, I would say that like most of the stuff he was showing me was, there was certainly some of the 70s stuff, as I say, like, Kiss and Zeppelin and AC/DC, but majority of the records that I was really getting into were like released between the years like 80, 81 and 88. It was like kind of like this golden year for me. My dad was never really into hair metal though. I must say that that's kind of like the beast I figured out on my own, especially after joining Diemonds. Like I always liked Rat and Wasp and shit, but like I joined Diemonds and learned about Tora and Vane and like all this, like the more deep cut hair metal. So I did some of that discovering on my own, but 80s was just like all the stuff I was consuming. I was noticing you'd flip it over and it'd be like 1984, 1986, 1988. And I'm like, all right, I guess I like the 80s.
As do we. Yeah. Is
It's
that what
it's
influenced
fair.
Diamonds? Is that era is what really what was the biggest influence for that?
Diemonds is like straight up 80s hard rock heavy metal worship. Totally
Cool.
both in musical presentation and appearance as well. Like, we used, we were hilarious. We cared so much about that 80s image that back in the day, it'd be like, 2 PM. We just rolled into a city after driving all night. No one had slept a lick yet. We were all probably vomiting, hungover. And it was like, no one's allowed to go into the venue in sweatpants. Get those fucking jeans on.
Yes.
It's like, it's
We're
only
not a grunge band.
Yeah, it's like it's only venue staff. Like, why did we even care? It's like, one cleaner and one like bar back stalking the bar. Like, we're getting ready for sound check, and it was like everyone's got to make sure, like, no hats, no ponytails, no shorts.
Where's your lipstick?
Yeah, exactly. It's fun, man.
Don't look at your shoes, God damn it.
That's great.
Right. Fantastic. So when you started playing guitar, can you remember the very first song that you ever played?
I'm not sure that I remember like number one, but I'll tell you, like when I first got I got an acoustic guitar first, and there was some Wish You Were Here going on, and there was like some attempting to play Stairway to Heaven the wrong way going on, and all that kind of stuff. But I really didn't take to it that much. I was always like trying to find ways to amplify an acoustic guitar. Like, it just made no sense. It wasn't for me at all. It's once I got my first, beater electric guitars, 3 months after getting my first acoustic, it was like just down the rabbit hole of learning every single one of my favorite songs. It's like I learned basically every Kiss song. I learned every Metallica song. I learned every Maiden song. I couldn't play leads. I was just learning rhythms. And if I couldn't learn the whole song, I would just learn one of the riffs. It was just all about copycat for me, like learning my favorite riffs
Right.
and licks, like straight out the gate. That's all I wanted to do was like learn as many as I could. I don't recall what the first one was, but like, all the cliche shit first, of course, like you had to learn how to play Smoke on the Water. You had to learn how to play Enter Sandman. You had to learn all that, all that kind of shit first, all the easy stuff.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I learned how to play guitar. I had an Iron Maiden songbook, like their first up through Peace of Mind. So that's, I was taking a guitar class where I learned what the chords were and how to play. But then after that, it was self-taught, and it was all those early Maiden songs, Prodigal Son, and trying to play the simpler riffs, like Flight of Icarus, with that great, A, E sharp, F, or I think it's what a A, E, F sharp, progression. And so I get it, man. That's cool.
Yeah, I was really lucky too. It's funny you bring up like things like music books. It's like all about eras too, like depending on what era you grew up in changes completely the tools that were available to learn. So for me, there was no need for me to go buy a book for one band and have to learn those songs. I had the beauty of the internet. I grew up with it my whole life basically. And there was like you could watch videos on YouTube of people playing them and breaking them down, or you could go to one of those tab websites where everything's done wrong and learn it completely wrong and ask backwards. There was all sorts of different ways to learn. So I was lucky that as opposed to, I guess, in a different era, you would have had to focus on buying a book and get all those songs down, then buy another book and get all those songs down. I was just like all over. If I heard a song on the radio and I liked it, I could go to the computer and type how to play that, and there would be some form of Guitar Pro or Tab or something that I could learn from. I was really like, technology made it pretty easy to not have a guitar teacher.
Right.
Yeah. So you were watching that episode of SpongeBob where they sang "Sweet Victory"? Learning that too.
And that song's fucking awesome.
Right.
I know. Vindicator needs
man.
to cover that, man.
You should do a live cover of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Sweet Vindicator. That'd be awesome. Nice, man. Cool. Well, you've been playing with these great bands, hitting the road. We're going to have some good road stories coming up. So that's good. I want to hear some great stories. But have you ever met any of your musical heroes? If so, who have you met, and what was that like?
I've been very, very fortunate to have met a good chunk of my musical heroes. Whether it was just getting lucky, playing in bands and crossing paths with other people and like knew someone who knew someone and ended up backstage or at a party, or starting later in life, I started working in like heavy metal media with Banger TV, and it'd be like, hey, like you're interviewing Slash today. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's sick. Just shit like that. I will say though, out of all the musical heroes I've met, and sure, like the Ace Frehleys blew my mind, and the meeting Slash blew my mind, but I was backstage at a Maiden concert maybe like 9 or 10 years ago, and Alice Cooper was opening, and there he is standing in the hallway, and I'm like just standing there like completely dumbfounded that like I don't give a fuck about Yannick Gers walking by. Like that's the Cooper. That's the guy. That's the reason why we're all here. Like that's him. And he just like saw me staring, and he just walks up to me. He's like, "Hi, I'm Alice. Would you like a photo?"
You're like, no, I'm waiting for Yannick, but thanks. Thanks, old man. The bathroom's down the hall. That's like awesome. That is really cool. Now,
nicest guy. It was crazy.
My grandpa met Alice Cooper on a plane. They were flying out to Arizona because that's he would lives in Arizona, and so my grandparents would fly out to Arizona every winter. So I hear this afterwards, like, yeah, Mark, I met this guy. You might know him. He was a real nice guy. His name was Alice Cooper. I'm like, what? I'm thinking, Grandpa. I was like, I picture my grandpa with like the black makeup around his eyes now. Like Grandpa, don't you know he like cuts his own head off in the show and like hangs he has simulated like hangings, and like
Yeah,
I thought he
he's
said,
a nice guy.
yeah, and they said they just talked for an hour. The nicest guy. And my grandpa was a little like a big a junk dealer, like Archie Bunker and Fred Sanford. So I'm sure he was probably trying to sell him stuff all that way down there. But I thought, holy cats, my grandpa gets some Alice Cooper. Like what world is this? That's great.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's a good one.
Yeah.
What was Daniel? What was one of your what was the first band that you were in?
Well, I mean, soon after I got a guitar, like almost instantly, I knew, like, the reason I started playing guitar, I should say rather, is I wanted to be in a band. I'd been air guitaring and doing power slides off my parents' porch since I was a little kid, and air drumming was always a thing. And like, I just knew long before I had an instrument, I wanted to be in a band. So I got my first guitar, and like the minute I knew like 3 songs, it was like, I'm good enough to have a band. Let's have a band. So like, yeah, hell yeah. We're like, we'll write 1 song and do 6 covers, and we're a band. We got it. So I had a band, like, you know, put together a band right out the gate, when I had no business playing in a band, could barely tune a guitar, let alone restring it. But you know, we started jamming in my bedroom, and just like really annoying. Like, you know, it probably wouldn't have been so bad if we weren't like total kids. Like we were like 12 years old and 13 years old, like not knowing what we were doing. My mom, bless her soul, like she let us do it. I can only imagine how bad it must have sounded. And we were jamming it like 2 or 3 times a week. And then we started playing some like Supernova, like Battle of the Bands, like ticket scams, where they like give an untalented band that has no business playing a show, like, hey, if you sell these 15 tickets, you could totally play a show. So we started doing stuff like that, and played a handful of gigs with that band, and you know, kind of a bunch in and out, like just stuff in high school, jamming with people, playing at the talent shows and playing in the school cafeteria. I played in a band once that covered Nirvana's Rape Me. And we got the power pulled on us by the principal. We were playing at lunchtime in front of the whole school, and just like, it was bad enough that we were playing out of tune guitars and had no musical talent, but the fact that we were then also screaming rape me, rape me, rape me, rape me, rape me into the microphone over again, really got the power pulled on us fast. So a lot of trial and error in those early years, kind of messing around, doing pay to play stuff. And then I just started hanging out with this band, like, couple guys who are older than me, and I just started hanging out with them and just going to all their practices and trying everything to get in good with them, because they were the only real band I knew, and they were called Aggressor. And I started just like absolutely waiting for my chance to play in that band. And then it finally came when I was like 17 or 18 years old. They're like, hey, our bass player like can't do this thing. Like, do you want to like learn the songs and play this show with us? So it was a lot of trial and error, man. Like a lot of years of just hanging around musicians and waiting for that opportunity to play in a real band. That's all I ever wanted.
How did how the gig with Exciter come about then? How did that end up happening?
Honestly, the most organic thing ever. The bass player, Alan Johnson, posted on Facebook that they needed a guitar player, and I responded, and he didn't believe it. He was like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, man, I'm like 1,000,000% serious. I really like 100%, 100 million percent. That's actually what I said, 100 million% serious. So super organic. I knew those guys, they're from the same hometown, and just a really organic, literally like, dude, like Facebook, like straight up, like,
wow. Yeah.
Like 2 hours later, I was on a phone call with Dan Beeler, and 3 days later, I was on a bus to Ottawa to do an audition, which really wasn't much of an audition. It really was just our first rehearsal for my first show.
Were you a fan of those guys prior to? I mean, obviously, if you were that enthusiastic, you must have been. Yeah, that's a pretty big jump from Diemonds, you know, musically. What really drew you towards Exciter and that style?
Well, I mean, Violence and Force was one of the first records my dad ever gave me. He had a bonsai pressing. He gave it to me. I still have it. Gave it to me when I was a kid, and always like worshipped that record. Thought it was the coolest. And had a lot of interactions with the Exciter dudes living in Ottawa. It's not a very big city. They're like hometown heroes. I'd go see them play in various lineups. And I was friends of the family with Dan Beeler, and just really, it's not that big of a place. So everyone kind of knew each other.
Nice.
So it's like you'd go to the local pub in the city I lived in, and it'd be like, you'd be sitting next to Dan Beeler on this side and Jeff Waters on this side. It was really cool growing up in Ottawa, man. So it's like just wild. So, I mean, joining Diemonds, I would say, actually was kind of me straying away from my true musical tastes. I was a thrash kid through and through. Played in, Aggressor was all thrash, and all the songs I was writing on my own were all thrash. And I was like, fuck Metallica, Megadeth. Like I was that kid. I was like always into like harder riffs.
That's my boy.
Thinking man's metal and all that shit.
Yes.
And, so I was always a thrash kid. Like when I joined Diemonds, I'll be honest with you, man, like there was like an element of me that was like, all right, we're joining like the cheesier 80s band, but like, it's okay. You'll find your thrash band eventually. It'll happen. But joining Diemonds was the best thing for me because it opened my eyes to like so much amazing music that I never would have listened to had it not been getting to know those cats. They fucking love their sleaze metal, man. There's some great shit out there. Like some of my favorite records of all time are hair metal records I would have never heard if it wasn't for playing in Diemonds.
That's great.
Really nice.
Moving on, I was going to ask a question also, Daniel, about so how did you end up getting on Banger TV and getting that spot?
That was really awesome, actually. I got called in they were doing, so Sam Dunn started doing a YouTube channel with a weekly live show called Lock Horns, where basically they took, all the success he had with making that heavy metal family tree and Headbanger's Journey. And then this was like a live show where they would take, it'd been 10 years, a lot has changed. They would take one genre from the tree that he created and kind of like amend it to, add new bands or like, hey, actually like, why is Anvil in the thrash section? They should be in the speed section. So let's add a speed metal branch. And like, they would do things like that, kind of make amendments. And each episode would feature Sam hosting and then a guest who was like a specialist from that genre. So they were looking for someone for a thrash episode. And I got recommended. And I mean, I'd met Sam Dunn before a handful of times. He was playing in a local band called Burn to Black. And Toronto also not that big. The world itself is actually only this big. I don't know if you guys know, the world's only this big. So I mean, like I'd interacted with him, but like never on this level. And dude, I came into the office for that thrash episode and we fucking hit it off. It like instantly became one of the most viewed episodes. The hour was up and him and I were like, no, we didn't even talk about violence yet. What the fuck? Like it was like one of those kind of like, did we just become best friends moments? And and I got called in for that one episode. And it's like a week later, the producer got in touch and her exact words were, we have great guests and we have exceptional guests. And you were an exceptional guest and we'd love to have you on the team full time. And I got like offered a contract to go work with them and be a co-host for that show.
That's awesome.
It was like the coolest shit ever. And just like, thought I was going in for a one-time thing and ended up, that was like 5+ years ago. And I'm still working with them. I love it.
What's one of your favorite segments of the show? What would you say, like the reviews or the guessing or like when you guys go through the best of the year, or what's one of your favorite?
I love that original show concept of Lock Horns because it was like a live show with audience comments and like getting down to the really like nitty gritty nerdy shit, which is what I love. It's like talking about the music and like getting real nerdy about it. Do I love album reviews and reviewing albums? Yeah, but like I don't read album reviews. I just listen to albums. So for me, it doesn't like the whole album review thing doesn't totally resonate with me. I also hate sitting around and shit talking something if I don't like it, because at the end of the day, I'm a musician. And even if something sucks, someone still spent an immense amount of time working on it. And it's really fucking awkward when you tell the whole world that an album sucks and then you have to tour with that band 4 months later. So I kind of stopped doing album reviews for that entire reason. And I really love like that nerdy, like talking about the sound. It's like, well, why is this genre and not this genre, or why is it neither of those genres, and here's a new micro genre we've got to explore. I love that element of the nerdiness of Banger. I thought it was really there's something special about that show. I really do like the Lock Horns format.
All right, thank you.
And Sam Dunn is awesome. I didn't realize how many films that he was involved with.
Oh yeah.
My God, yeah. When I started looking into his stuff, I didn't realize it, like Flight 666 with Maiden and Time Machine, Rush, and all that stuff. I didn't know he had his hands in all that stuff.
Super duper Alice Cooper as well. We're just talking about.
Oh shit! I didn't know he did that one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Did super duper Alice Cooper. Just did a new documentary. Just got released. A Triumph doc, which is awesome.
Nice.
And yeah, man, dude, Sam is, he's known as just like that metal guy, and he's just like a metalhead and did that movie. But like, if you really break it down, like he's a fucking filmmaker, and he's fantastic at it too. Any of his projects outside of metal are incredible as well. There's a very successful series he did called Hip Hop Evolution. It's really, really fantastic. Won a couple Emmys. And they're doing a K-pop evolution show. So,
wow.
I mean, like as much as he's known as like that metal dude, he is so much more. He's got such an eye. Like, dude, it's like so funny. We'll set up all day for one of the streams, like a Lockhorn stream, and he'll just walk in the room and like stand behind the camera, look at the frame, and be like, not the shadow there, and that's got to come in that way. We've got to tighten that up for that shot, and this camera's got to go there, and let's adjust the lighting on that. Like, he's just a brilliant mind, not only musically, but with the whole visual element of it too. And there's a reason why he's an executive producer on all those incredible movies.
Yeah. I just stumbled across his Headbangers Journey, like on a YouTube, rabbit hole one day. And that just drew me in. That was such a great little documentary. I love that thing.
Yeah. I was really young when I saw it for the first time too. So it like especially blew my mind. I'm like, there's more people like me. Yeah, it was awesome.
Nice.
So if he gets really bored, he can do a documentary on us, or he can bring us on Banger TV, for an interview. Like, you want to do a live show with us? Hey, if you draws the short straw, we're happy to show up
lose
for
a
you,
bet,
man.
whatever.
That's right. We're happy to show up for you.
We're not proud.
Love it.
Excellent. So when you're, speaking of your music that you like to write and do, what's your creative process like? Can you kind of walk us through that?
Yeah, I find that if I'm not truly inspired, if I don't have like a purpose, I can't spit something out. And if I do, it's just going to be subpar. Some people tell you the opposite. They're like, oh, you can't think about it. You just have to like let it out of you and just go. Like that doesn't really work for me. I need to like listen to something and feel like, oh, like I want to do that, but my own way, or I want to do something like this. I kind of have to have an end goal. If I just try to go in and create something, I find that I'm always misguided, and it just kind of ends up sounding just a little just boring, kind of like for purposeless almost. Like I really do need to have that end goal in mind. Like it has to be, I'm writing a song for this album, or I'm writing a song for this band, or I want to rip off this vibe. Like I really do need some sort of guidance. If I just walk into a room with a guitar and an amp and hit record, like I'll just come out with a song that's like, why are you playing a speed metal lick that has rat chords and also has
that sounds amazing.
has this down-tuned death metal part? What's wrong with you?
Right.
Like, why is this all like it literally just why is this a splatterbrain of ideas?
Yeah. I think Vic has a 7-inch of that, don't you, Vic, somewhere? I think
probably
in your collection. Yeah, right. So when you like to go out, and you're touring and playing venues and hitting the road, do you prefer like smaller intimate venues or larger arenas? From a fan's point of view, being close to a band is really awesome, but what's it like from your point of view?
Totally. I mean, as a fan, like there's nothing cooler than seeing a big band in a small venue. But any musician who tells you that like, oh, we prefer the up close and personal thing in the clubs, like they're lying to you. Like, man, there's nothing better than playing in an arena with like proper lighting and audio, and like you just walk out on stage and hit the power button on your amp, and they're like, ah! like come on, like don't, like what's better than that? Like I know playing in a room that's like, the walls are sweating and the ground is shaking and there's 100 people packed in like sardines, like fuck yeah, that's awesome. And I love doing that. But like when you get the opportunity to open for a bigger band, or play on an open air festival, and just like those giant ass stages where you can literally put your wireless to use for the first time ever properly, you know, like just like, oh dude, like there's videos of me sometimes we play festivals in Europe with these giant stages, like fucking football fields. I'll just run from side to side, like just nonstop.
Bruce
like,
Dickinson.
Yeah, man. It's like I literally Bruce Dickinson do the whole Dickinson back and forth, because I mean, you know, next week I might be playing a bar and grill that you can't do that. You know, like I really do love playing those huge spaces. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing cooler than screaming in someone's face when they're like this, but you know, it's pretty fucking cool when there's 20,000 people standing in front of you as well, not gonna lie.
Yeah. What are some of your like either most memorable or favorite venues that you've played?
Great question. I would say that I mean, Diemonds did a show once with Slash at the Phoenix in Toronto. It's about like a 1,500 capacity, and it looks a lot bigger because it's got like a big balcony up top and like really big open floor. And that was like one of the first big, like real big club shows I played. It was sold out. We were direct support to Slash, and it had that effect. I'd never walked out on stage before I played a note, and people were cheering. They had no idea who the hell we were, or why we were there, but they were cheering because they were just so excited. The vibe, and since that was like, you know, our hometown, and that I've seen a million shows in that room, like bands I worship, from Creator to like Soundgarden did a secret show there. Like I've seen such insane things in that room that was definitely a standout event for me, opening for Slash at the Phoenix. And then the White Oak Music Hall in Houston is pretty fucking epic. Played my first ever gig with Exciter there alongside Power Trip and Razor. It's like two of my favorite bands. So that's always going to be one of the most memorable venues for me ever. Just fucking, again, balcony effect and like packed, sold out. And you know, I love those, like those clubs. Like you talk about venues, that like 1,500 cap club vibe is like pretty bang on, man. I love that feeling. And then of course, the first time I went to Europe with Exciter was my first time. You know, Diemonds did Europe, but always clubs, never festivals. The first time I did like a headlining an open air festival with Exciter with like a couple thousand people in an open field, and like the metal markets too. You always hear about that, like the crazy metal markets at these Euro festivals. Like I'm talking like just hundreds of tables of people selling patches, pins, studs, records, belts, bullet belts, all your Hesher shit, just like, but like not like Metallica patches. It's like there's, you know, they're selling like Whiplash patches and shit. Like they got all that, like the greasy old school stuff that, you know, in North America is near impossible to find. In there, it's like commonplace. Like everyone loves that underground shit. So I you know, those clubs and those first Euro shows I played, those like some of the most memorable shows in my life. I love that shit.
So do you have a favorite festival, like a European festival, like that you played at, like something like, yeah, okay, this is the fucking big time. This might be the penultimate festival.
Yeah, there's one in Belgium that we played. That the name of the festival, it's called Blast from the Past Festival, because obviously I love bands from the 80s. So these Blast from the Past Festival in Belgium was like an ideal bill for me. As well, this Headbangers Open Air that takes place in Germany, like pretty intense. It was like the headline bands were us and Queensryche, and I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Like, I'm like, like I'm literally standing side stage watching them do Queen of the Reich, and I'm like, "We're on in 15 minutes. This is fucking insane. Like, this is crazy." So that. I like those like very curated festivals. Don't get me wrong, I'm like super stoked to be doing Hellfest and Grass Pop and all those like giant 80,000 person festivals with Exciter, but those are huge with tons of bands and like everyone's on it. Like I really like those like niche curated. There's also one I'll give a shout out to, this insane festival in Sweden called Muskelrock. Definitely the most memorable venue I've played in Europe. It's like a fairground from like the 50s. It's like really like creepy looking, like there's like just like, I don't know how to explain it aside from like a creepy fairground from the 50s that's been converted into this festival. Like I've never experienced anything like it before. Muskelrock in Sweden in the suburbs. It was like really insane, man. Europe's the shit. Like I'm really stoked on the experience I had touring in Europe with Diemonds, but like this is a whole other world. The stuff I do with Exciter in Europe is like fucking insane, man. Like the curated bills. Like no one puts on shows like that in North America. Like these bands don't come here because there'd be 500 people total at the festival. They can put the same bill in Europe and get 5,000 people at the festival. It's very, very unique vibe with some of those shows. It truly feels like you're in a time warp sometimes, the way that people are dressed, the bands that are playing, just the whole vibe of it, like the cars that people are driving, the way that people are camping. Like it really does feel like you're caught in a time warp sometimes. And I mean that in the most positive way.
Yeah, those small those small venues are really nice, for us. But yeah, I've seen some bands from Europe that can fill a stadium, but they come here and I'm watching them in a 300 person, tiny little venue. I feel kind of bad. It's nice to see them up close, but I feel kind of bad for them too. It's
Totally.
It's kind of sad here in the States,
because they deserve better. That's the thing.
Absolutely.
It's like they deserve these bigger venues being sold out more. But I mean, we've gone to see bands like, Nile and Overkill and Queensryche and King Diamond on these really small stages and small venues. And I love that as a fan, because you're so close, you can touch them. But I'm also thinking like, God, why aren't these guys selling out a 5,000 seat arena or 10,000 seat arena? Because, in Europe, they will, bigger. Yeah.
No, totally. Do you guys want a beer? I'm going to get a beer. Do you guys want
Yes, please.
Right, cool. I'm going to get a beer.
I have one right here.
I had too many yesterday. That's why I don't have one right now.
We got our birthday wishes, birthday boy. So yeah.
How was it yesterday? How was your birthday?
Wet.
Do you remember it? A wet birthday? Okay. I'm not going to ask any further.
Yeah, I drank a lot yesterday. There was a lot of drinks had, so.
I didn't know if you meant the bed or what was going on there.
No,
I didn't know where the wetness was.
That's a normal Sunday for because of waking up in a wet bed. It's a wild card wet weekend.
Yeah.
Should we talk
Night
quieter
sweats.
for Vic?
Yeah.
No, I'm good. I woke up
man.
like at 5 and took some Tylenol and went back to bed.
Do you ever sleep? Because it seems like on Facebook you're always chiming in no matter what time of the day or night.
It's the insomnia.
I don't sleep well at all.
Yeah, because I'll wake up. I'll be up at 2 or 3 in the morning because I wake up and I can't fucking sleep, and he'll be online too. I'm like, geez, do I want to like say hi to him because I'm trying to get back to sleep, but I see him all the time. And then there's like I wake up at 6. I'm like, oh fuck, he's on again.
Vic Stone has been an avid Facebook shit poster since I met him 10 plus years ago.
Well, when you were describing being, at the venue, standing on the same stage as Queensryche, oh fuck, we got to play on for 15 minutes. That's just so mind blowing to me. Playing at a festival is one thing, but then being a fan at these festivals is another thing. So when you're playing these festivals, how much of the time where you get to spend as a fan, and do you like to walk around and like see these other bands as well, and like hang out with these other like the other bands behind the stage and like hang out and talk with them? I mean, what's that experience like?
Yeah, I do it up like a fan. I'm like, I've been fortunate with Exciter. A lot of the times the medium to smaller festivals were often headlining. So whereas some of my bandmates might not go to the venue till 8 o'clock and then just kind of warm up for a bit and go on stage, I'm there at noon. I've got like a list of bands I want to see, and I'll often take advantage of the fact that I'm playing and have like an all access pass, and I love standing side stage and punishing my favorite bands. It's like my favorite thing to do. I'll knock on the dressing room door before they play, be like, hey man, like, you don't know who I am. I'm a huge fan. And like, I really hope you play this song tonight, and like shit like that. Like there's no denying it. Like at the end of the day, the only reason I ever started doing any of this is because I was like a fan first and foremost.
Right.
So I still get real excited. Like I'll go, like, for example, that festival Muskelrock in Sweden, the only reason we ended up playing it is because I solicited them. I was like, hey, I was in a banger video action. I'm like, hey, there's this festival in Sweden, shut up Muskelrock. They've curated like the greatest lineup ever with like 10 bands I love that'll never tour North America because they're like European as fuck. Can Exciter play? And they emailed me and they're like, hey, we saw your video. Does Exciter really want to play? You guys can headline. And so, I mean, I went all the way to Sweden just to see some bands I worship. It's crazy. Like legit, like bands that will never play North America. Shout out Deadlord. Literally, this band Deadlord was the reason I went all the way to Sweden and convinced my band to play this festival. So I'm a huge fan. I'm like big on, I try and meet all those bands and watch their whole sets. And You'll see me like side stage or front row, like yelling the words. I'm a lyric guy. I know all the words to all my favorite songs and air drumming and air riffing and all that shit. I'm a nerd, man. I love music, and it's really the only thing in life that makes me truly, truly happy is playing, consuming, and experiencing music. Much like Vic, who like looks like he actually has 4,000 CDs on the wall behind him. Nobody tell him that they have hard drives that do that as well.
What?
What the hell are you talking about, brother? I really do try and make as much time as possible on festivals. And even when it comes to routing tours, like if we're playing, like for Hellfest is a great example. Like we're playing Hellfest on like Thursday. On Friday, fucking Judas Priest is playing. So guess what? I told our agent, like, dude, don't book a show on Friday. I know that's a money night and we should be out there making a living, but like, I want to watch Judas Priest on their 50th anniversary tour with my bandmates. Like my band is literally named after a Judas Priest song. It's like it's a total moment for us. Like, like fuck that Friday. That's a write-off. We're getting drunk and going to see Priest. So I'm big on that stuff, man. At the end of the day, you can't forget why you started doing it. And that's because you fucking love music.
Yeah. Was there ever a moment that it kind of clicked? Like you're like, holy shit, this is really, I could make a career out of this. Was it one of those moments like opening for one of those mega bands? Or
I think it was right now when he realizes he's going to be on our show.
Right. HMH called. Holy
fuck.
shit.
I'm finally having on a horror podcast.
Yes.
Jesus Christ, I made it.
Nailed it. And I mean, not to, I mean, it's a little cliche because of who's here, but I gotta say, like, being young and going on tour with Vindicator and Aggressor as a 19-year-old, I wasn't even old enough to go into these venues that the bands were playing, like just being on the road. And like, it didn't matter that we were playing for like 3 to 7 people a night or that we were sleeping in Walmart parking lots. Like I had this delusion in my mind that this was sustainable. And I really have to say that, that experience, even though if you look at the facts, it would be only an insane person would look at that experience and be like, this is sustainable. Like I looked at it and I ran with it. I threw as much gasoline on the fire as I could. And, even though like you were like, well, how many tickets are sold for tonight? 12. Okay, well, you're going to pretend like it's Madison Square Garden. I like, I was writing out pro set lists for all the boys and like setting up these gorgeous merch spreads and like tour managing, like it was like fucking playing Madison Square Garden. It didn't matter. It didn't matter what the reality of it was. It was like kind of those first experiences of traveling around the States for, so many weeks and just really getting a taste of what the road life was. I kind of like at that point was like, this has to be what I'm going to do. It's all I want to do. It has to be sustainable. In my mind, it was obviously we were hemorrhaging money, all of us, but it didn't matter because I knew
Yep.
I knew at that minute, it was like I have to find a way to make this work because this is what I want to do. Dude, I was like crazy. We were like, Vic will tell you, man, we were like literally sleeping in Walmart parking lots every night. And for what? Like the shows were what they were. It was like mostly us playing to, our bandmates and other people who were around, but there was just something, I was really young and there was just something really magical about being on the road for that long and, being away from home and all those things I had heard about from all these bands I worship, like when you read about the early Megadeth and early Metallica and early Slayer and all this stuff, like they were also sleeping on floors and playing shows and being in the wrong scenes and finding their footing. Like every band went through it. To me, it felt like I was doing exactly that. And it was that first tour gave me like a serious thirst for it, so much that I didn't give up from that moment. I would do whatever it would take to make it in one way, shape, or form.
Yeah, and you will it into existence. I mean, that's impressive. That's impressive to, not get discouraged early on. You playing, putting all that work in and playing to just a handful of people and to keep the drive and the motivation going, and until it does end up happening. That's impressive, man. I don't think too many people do that. It never
really freaked me out either. Like looking back, like the way I am now as like a much more like an adult head on my shoulders, like I would have been freaked out for me circa 19 to 25. Like I would have been worried shitless, dude. I was like I was paying my rent in cash and, filling out the last $30 of it with like quarters and dimes and nickels. Like I was seriously broke. I didn't have a bank account. I was like paying for everything with change and splitting like value meals at McDonald's with my friends for dinner. And I was eating one meal a day and smoking 4 packs of cigarettes a day. And just, that's where all the money was going. I was just like hacking darts and drinking beer and barely eating and just living in a house with 4 people and just like, you know, this is okay. This is fine. Everything's going to work out. And looking back, like, I don't know how I had that optimism. Like now that would freak the fuck out of me, but then it didn't bother me. It didn't bother me that I was wearing Converse with holes in the bottom. It didn't bother me that my zipper on my pants was broken and I'd been wearing the same jeans for 4 years. Like it didn't bother me at all. Nothing was going to stop me from achieving that, you know, misguided dream at that point. I don't know what I thought I was going to achieve, but I knew I was going to get it.
Was there ever a time when your dad said, man, son, maybe I should have introduced you to the stock market or something instead of metal? Poor guy, you've been wearing those jeans for 4 years.
My dad was pretty good at like backing up from it, and like only like lightly pressing, like, so have we thought about school? Have we thought about that? Like my mom was like, dude, my mom was fucking freaking out. Yeah, she was just calling my dad, crying, worried, sick about me. I basically ran away. I moved out without asking my parents when I was 19. I was like, yeah, I'll see you later. Like, oh, where are you going? I'm like, Toronto. Like, you going to university? Nah, just going to Toronto. Just gonna go. They're like, well, are you in a band? I'm like, nah, not yet. I'm just gonna, we'll figure it out. It's fine. And yeah, my mom was freaked the fuck out, but my dad was, thank fuck he was chill about it, because he, I don't know. He kind of, he didn't say he believed in me through it. He was kind of like neutral in it, but he wasn't negative about it either. So that was, I was really lucky about that.
Well, it sounds like you've had a pretty,
I know Scott Ian in an interview one time. Scott Ian from an interview one time for Anthrax, he stated they were so poor in the early days they couldn't afford white bread, so it was bologna on hand. That's what they bologna on hand. Going back to how, you know, all these musicians, all these musicians struggle obviously monetarily, and they struggle at the beginning. But I thought that was a pretty hilarious story. But my gosh, just scraping by like that. But like you said, you got that determination, that focus that you have, Daniel, that nothing's going to stop it. And obviously, a lot of other musicians shared that as well. Yeah, man. And like, I started doing I started figuring out hacks to like make it work being that broke. It's like, well, I don't have any money for food, so I guess I should work as a dishwasher in a restaurant and eat the food off the plates and stuff, essentially. And so I started washing dishes in restaurants and eventually like climbed my way through the restaurant world. And basically I didn't have to buy groceries for 3 years. It was perfect. I was just eating, you know, I'd work 6 days a week. And on the 7th, we had a, you know, McDonald's value menu. And those 6 days though, I was fed. I was working, you know, whatever restaurant I was working at, I would eat there. And at night, I would work 2 jobs. I'd work at the restaurant and eat. And at night, I would bar back at the Bovine Sex Club, coolest bar in the world. And I would get drunk as fuck for free. And walk away with some pocket money too. So I was always finding ways to be fed and drank, and then have a couple dollars for those days off to buy value menus and somehow scrounge the money together for the rent. I kind of figured out some hacks early on to make it through those really dark years. But looking back, it's crazy. I was never freaked out, man. Now that I think about it, I was like never truly freaked out. I had this like childish optimism about it that really, like, thank fuck, man, because I would have been doomed if I would have not had that optimism. I would have given up way early.
Sure. And most probably do. But yeah, that's
as most people are sane, like, you know.
Well, I think you're ignorant of, you don't really understand. You are too young to know your dire situation. That's what makes you do those things, you know, that an older person wouldn't do. Like, you gain wisdom as you gain age, but when you're young, you don't give a fuck. You're like, yeah, I'm gonna make it, which is what you thought. And like, no matter what the living situation is, you're cool with it. It's like, yeah, this is a step. This is what I'm gonna need to do, you know.
Dude, totally. That you absolutely nailed it. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. No, I that's cool. I get that, you know. Kind of lived that way in grad school. You know, I didn't have any money and living with a friend's house. There were 3 of us living there. It was like $100 a month in rent between the 3 of us, you know, working at a restaurant. So you got free food, you know, and, you know, so I totally get that. That's pretty fun.
I remember you talking about heating up McDonald's cheeseburgers on the windowsill in the sunlight.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was in the dorms, like my junior senior year. It's like toward the end of the semester, the microwave. He had the microwave. My roommate had a microwave, and one on the floor broke. And McDonald's on Tuesdays had like 20-cent hamburgers. So I'd like take $2 or $3 and like load up a bag of hamburgers, and then it was like May, so the sun was just coming through, and I would put them on the windowsill and pry the cold, tear the bun open, so I was laying out there and like hope that the sun would at least take the frost edge off the hamburger.
Wow.
Yeah, that was like the last 2 weeks. That's all I was eating was McDonald's hamburgers. Yeah, that was awesome.
That's
But
wild.
when you're 20,
that
like,
was
you don't give a fuck.
awesome.
Yeah, that ruled.
I know.
Yeah,
You're like,
right.
yeah, this is like the best. Like, yeah, fuck. I'm eating a 20-cent hamburger that's been warmed by the sun. I'm alive. Yeah, that's great.
That's low carbon footprint now, we call that.
Right. Right. Well, it sounds like you've had, sleeping in a Walmart parking lot's pretty good, but you gotta have some like other crazy road stories, like from being at these other larger festivals, playing with these other bands. I mean, you gotta have something that's like, okay, this is the craziest thing that happened to me.
Anything embarrassing about Vic, particularly?
Yes, let's hear it.
Yeah, you probably got some stories about me. I was hoping you'd bring up Desert Explosion. Do you remember Desert Explosion?
Is that the name of your ass?
How does one forget the Desert Explosion?
Okay,
it's
got a name. This has got to be good.
Yeah.
So this, my first American tour was with Vic and Aggressor and Vindicator, and we were sleeping in Walmart parking lots, and like not in a van, not like we were in like a sliding door soccer mom mini. Like it was like I was sleeping in the trunk with another person. Like I would sleep up with my knees in my chest like this, and we'd be like yin and yang. And you'd wake up in the morning, and dude, it would be hard to straighten your body out again. Like this is why it was amazing I did this at that age. Like, are you fucking kidding me? If I tried to do that now, I'd end up in the hospital.
Yep.
I'd be like, dude, I'd have like back spasms, and I wouldn't be able to walk, and it'd be like, oh, it was my chiropractor. Like the word chiropractor wasn't in my vocabulary then. And we were really just not taking care of ourselves and not really bathing and not eating. Like we'd have like our tiny little budgets to go in Walmart and grab like supplies, grab smart supplies for tour. So some people get like nuts, great for the protein and like just like fill you up and cheap. And some people get, whatever snacks. And like, I'd walk out to the band with a frozen coconut cream pie. And they'd be like, dude, what's wrong with you? I'm like, I don't know. I like coconut cream pie. I remember James LaRue being like, dude, like, do you need my pocket knife? Like, that's frozen. I'm like, yeah, I'll figure it out. And I would eat a frozen coconut cream pie over the course of 3 days. Like, this is the kind of ridiculousness that was on that tour. So we were all pretty like sick and unhealthy. And I remember Vic every morning would be like looking around parking lots of somewhere to plug in a kettle so he could make himself. He had like these two cases of cup of soup, like just like fucking instant noodles. And
I ate a cup of soup at least once a day, sometimes twice.
Oh yeah, that was his tour hack. That was his like tour hack. He's like, well, I could eat for $11 for the whole tour. That was his hack. And
hobos.
I mean, he's smarter than me. I was buying frozen pies. It's fucking ridiculous. But one day we were on a really long drive through the desert. Come to think of it, it like had to have been when we were down like Nevada area, like maybe around those Vegas shows and whatnot, like towards the end of things. And our drummer, Chris, was like, I gotta take shit. And we're like, all right, cool. Like next truck stop is like probably like 40 minutes or whatever. And he's like, cool, no problem. And then like 10 minutes later, he's like, so how far is that truck stop? And we're like, oh, like probably like 30 odd minutes, like we'll stop there. Everyone will get some food and use a bathroom and brush their teeth and whatever. And it'll be good. And 5 minutes after that, he's like, all right, you got to pull over right now. And we're like, okay, is everything all right? And Chris, we pull over in the middle of the desert, and Chris gets out and proceeds to run into the desert, lean up against a rock, pull down his pants, and like spray liquid shit all over the desert.
So we get the call in our van. Sarah answers the phone. She's also driving. What's going on, guys? Do you guys have any toilet paper? And we were like, well, we actually do for blowing our noses. Yeah, Chris is going to need it. The preface of this is that we celebrated Canadian Thanksgiving. So we had that day off. We went to a Walmart. We bought some rotisserie chickens, some potato salad, and macaroni salad.
We're
And
living high on the hog.
these cats fucking keep the leftovers, which is like potato salad. And we pull up like, dude, an entire day later, we pull up to a gas station. We're filling up. And fucking Chris and his brother Brian are just teared into it. And I'm like, did you guys refrigerate that?
Oh.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It wasn't fine. LaRue's got a video of that, I think, too.
Yeah, there's photos. There's photos. There's some good stuff. There's some really greasy photos. But yeah, dude, we were like that. We would take like leftover food from venues or leftover food from wherever, and we would just keep it for days at a time. And like, I was eating like 4-day-old pizza that had been unrefrigerated. It didn't faze me. I'm fucking 19 years old. Like I didn't care about anything. I was indestructible. But yeah, the desert explosion proved that our stomachs were not as strong as we thought they were.
I think
20 years later, somebody's looking at that rock trying to decipher the pictograph. Like, this ancient writing.
I think it's the cover. That's the concept of the new album. That's the cover, man. You guys need to do a record together. Desert Explosion. I think that's
a whole new meaning to the term painted desert, right?
Yeah.
There you go. Right.
Yeah.
Paint the desert brown.
Well, when you're not eating, 4-day-old pizza on the road, do you have a favorite road food? Like when not just that you can't afford, like, but when you were touring on these festivals, like, was there like one thing that you really love to eat while you're playing?
I've gone through so many different phases of like, how I take care of myself. And I did like, in Diemonds, I did a couple years sober. So like I was eating like salad on tour and like eating shit like that. I was like, we pull up to these diners and everyone's getting like omelets and fucking burgers and everyone's like ordering spaghetti and meatballs. And I'm like, hey, so do you have a chicken Caesar salad and like shit like that? Right. I was, I've gone through a lot of different phases, but now my favorite is like, I love this idea of like traveling through Europe and South America has it too a bit, where it's just like the backstage riders are just like meat and cheese and white bread. This is like so classic touring Europe. It's like, hey, like we've got like meat, cheese, white bread, 3 kinds of spreads, a mayo, a butter, and like some hot sauce, and like just like basic like Euro breakfast. I've grown like to really love. I remember the first time I went to Europe with Diemonds in 2017, I was so weirded out by the European lifestyle. I'm like, why am I eating salami and fucking chunks of cheese and white bread for breakfast? This is so weird. I'm like, where's American breakfast? Like, I love a classic American breakfast. Where's my biscuits and gravy? Where's my eggs? Where's my bacon? My sausage links? Like, I really disliked European style of eating at first, but I've fucking grown to love it. Like the European continental breakfast is like one of my faves, and almost without fail, catering at almost every venue in Europe is like some form of stewed meat on noodles. Like it's like goulash every night. And these kinds of things freaked me out at first, but I love it now, man. Like I'm all about eating food at venues and not spending extra on meals. Like it's kind of the key to success on tour. I'm lucky for the first time in my life, I'm playing in a band that I can actually pay my rent by playing in the band. It's like legitimately the first time ever. And one of the keys to being able to do that is to take advantage of all the liberties that are given to you. It's like if there's 20, we're a 3-piece band. If there's 24 bottles of water on stage and we use 6 of them, you can bet your ass that I'm bringing the rest of that case in the van. Like I am not buying water for the rest of the tour. We've got a case of water in the van. You're on a 6-hour drive and you're thirsty. You don't need to pull over. We got cold water under the bench. So I'm big on like taking advantage of all the things that are offered to us. If there's leftover food, grab it, throw it, buy a cheap cooler, throw it in the front, just like keep some stuff in there and, throw an ice pack in, whatever you got to do. Just take advantage of that's around you. I learned to like not be picky and just to enjoy the things that you're given. And that's like a huge key to success. But don't get me wrong. If there's a day off and I get to pick a restaurant, it's either ramen or sushi, like something Japanese. I got a crazy Japanese food fetish, man. I love Japanese candy, Japanese food, Japanese culture in general. I love Japan's one of my favorite places in the world.
Yeah, their candy tastes are different. It's not nearly as sweet as the American palate. It's a very different taste flavor profile.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, We had some crazy times on that tour. I was like really hoping that we were just going to talk about that for 2.5 hours today.
Well, go ahead. Fire away, man. We got time.
There was some really good stuff on those shows. There was so many good things. You know, DK was really good at slinging merch. Him and Sarah did a great job keeping all of the 3 bands in line and on time.
Possessor.
Possessor. Yep.
Yeah.
And you know, it was really exciting to tour with like Brian and Chris because from Aggressor, because they're brothers and Brian was very excitable. Chris was very like laid back. It was just it had as much of the same impact on myself that it had on DK, so that one I really tried to do my best and slow down and enjoy, smell the roses, as they say,
or smell the desert.
It was it was very unique. I gotta say, like, I've done quite a few tours since then that are like comparable, and like 2 bands linking up for a whole tour, doing the American run, playing to like very sparsely populated venues. Like I did that with Diemonds a bunch, and it did it with Aggressor again after, and like nothing compares to what we had on that first run. It was very unique.
Like
you
can tell them about Wicked Ithaca, because that was our first fucking show.
That was insane. So
that set the pace for the whole fucking tour.
We show up to Ithaca, New York to meet up for the very first show. And it seems like we pull up and we're like, okay, it's at like a hotel. I guess it's in a hotel. All right, that's cool. Whatever. We're playing in a convention room of a hotel. Like, this will be fine. This is okay. This is whatever. And it's branded Wicked Ithaca. And we're like, okay, cool. Like Wicked heavy metal. Fuck yeah. Nah, man. Like Wicked, like BDSM, like really, really, like we walk in and there's like fetish vendors everywhere. There's like dudes.
So Vic's right at home.
There's people in furry costumes touching each other. There's like a lot of weird shit going on. So we're like, we're trying to embrace it. We're like, yeah, we're like cool, kinky, young individuals. Like, nah, man, not like this. Not like this.
Dude, the Aggressor played on a stage. We played on a stage upstairs. They played on a stage downstairs, and their stage was in a room.
What do you mean stage? We played. It was a carpet.
Yeah, right.
It was a carpet.
It was just the floor. They played in a room that had many dildo vendors, so they were just playing in front of lots of dicks. It was.
That's your big dick energy. Is that where it comes from?
Yeah.
Where it came from?
You know that it's a weird ass vibe of a show when I take out my phone to film the band that's playing, and they're like, oh, sorry, we're not allowing any recording in the room tonight. I'm like, why not? And they're like, because there's a lot of people here that don't want what they're doing recorded. And I like start to look around the room, and I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. There's people dressed in furry costumes slinging dildos, man. Like,
we went upstairs because it was weird. They had a few different live shows, and it was like us and Aggressor. I don't think Possessor linked up with us in Chicago
later. Yeah.
And so we were I think we might have been the only 2 bands on the bill. So we went on after a burlesque show, and literally we just played to Aggressor, and they were doing wrestling moves you guys were doing big time wrestling moves.
Dude, as if my brain can bring up these memories with the amount of like underage drinking I was doing and drug abuse. Like, dude, like, you guys played, there was like a giant ass actual stage room upstairs. It was like a real venue. We played in a conference room on the ground with the lights on. With the lights on.
Yeah.
The lights were on. I remember right before the show started that night, Brian, the band always played in D standard tuning. Brian was like, dude, let's be like down playing C sharp tonight. And like, for no reason, the band just tuned down to C sharp, and the band played in C sharp, and it like sounded so weird. Like, this was the vibe of that tour, just like playing in fucking BDSM conventions in hotels in upstate New York, staying at the Stone House. That was incredible too, man. We stayed with you guys. We learned all about Uncle Tugs. We fucking learned that if you want to get a hot date, you got to feed her lobster, all that stuff, man.
Yeah, my dad, he loves showing people studs, so you get to watch the live stud show where he's talking about how lobsters make things wet. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what I can say on here anymore. In the future, that's gonna get cut. Mark's gonna cut that one.
No, I'm not cutting anything.
No wet talk. But
No more.
dude,
no editing on this show.
another thing in that Wicked Ithaca show, between sets, we were walking. I think we were all walking around upstairs. Did you happen to see Satan? Like he was in that cage,
yes!
and his dick was just out,
Yeah.
and he was all like, "Ah," and it was like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
Wait
like,
a minute. You saw Satan with his dick out. What are
Yeah,
you?
there was this guy. He had like little horns, and his whole body was painted red, and his dick was just, he was like pulling on it real angrily, and then
yeah.
he was being angry about it too, and he was like in a
Angry
dog
dick.
cage.
Dude, I totally, it's so good that you're here to refresh these memories in my brain. Like that was one of the weirdest shows I've ever played in my life. There's
Yeah,
just like
absolutely.
slaves in cages, fucking dildos for sale left, right, and center, furries having a dance party, and 2 metal bands completely out of place. And
Yes.
guys, the icing on the cake, of course, where did we sleep? In the parking lot.
The
of
parking lot.
The parking lot of the
Oh,
hotel.
they say to us, they go, well, we'll give you a discount on the rooms, and it was like $5 off, and we were like, are you
Yeah.
guys gonna be pissed if we just sleep in the parking lot? And they're like, no, it's fine. So that's what we
Yeah.
did.
They didn't even offer us rooms after we played. We got like a discounted rate that we still couldn't afford. So we all
Right.
slept. Night one of the tour set the tone. We slept in the parking lot. And I remember you in the lobby in the morning looking for a plug all low key, trying to boil some water.
Yeah,
You know?
I got ahead and make
You
my
didn't get
breakfast.
you didn't get a pie from that place, did you?
Oh,
No.
no.
That's great. I have so many questions. First, what furry costume did Vic get?
Yeah,
what was he?
afford that shit, man.
How many dildos
Yeah,
did you
we
like?
don't know.
Were there extra dildos that you took, like extra, like there were bottles of water? Did you like keep them in
No,
your
man.
van? I mean, you could be like
Took all
throwing
the
those
leftover
out
dildos?
at the
We didn't
at
get
the next
nothing.
show.
We didn't get
There you go.
anything free except maybe some STDs.
Yeah.
Probably the
no one
only-
wanted to come near us. We thought we were like the coolest cats ever in our goddamn studded vests and tight jeans, and everyone's looking at us like, who the hell invited these fucking weirdo metalheads? Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
we were the weird ones there.
yeah, we were the weird ones. Imagine that. Yeah.
Yeah, there
I feel
was
like
some.
Vic
There was
dressed
some
like a
fucking.
chipmunk.
Nah, I just dressed normal. I
And-
think there's just the normal stuff.
Dude,
There were a lot of good shows on that run.
I kind of
know-
want to know like what's on the buffet at that BDSM convention. Like, is there
God.
is there a buffet and like what
Gags.
Yeah.
Shaped
Ball
like a-
gags,
shaped
ball
like a
gags,
peanut
cream
all
pies,
that,
and
yeah.
sausage on bun.
Murray sausage strikes again?
Yeah.
There we go.
I must say though, man, like that tour, like really, and no one ever talks about it too, because no one ever wants to talk to me about that era, and let alone someone
Yeah.
else in the room who lived through it all, with me. It's like, it was very formative for me, man. Like you read about early tours and like becoming friends, like you talk about your heroes and you talk about all these bands that toured together and how they became friends for life. Like I never experienced that with any other tours. Like Diemonds have toured with bands in similar settings across the US, and like I don't even remember what their names were, the guys in the bands, or I don't even remember what their bands were called or have any memories, but like everybody who was on that tour, past, present members of whatever bands it was, like I'm in some capacity still in touch with everyone and have like a lifelong relationship, to the point
That
where
was
like,
special.
it'd be like years later, I would call up Vic and Sarah and be like, Diemonds are on tour, like we need a place to crash. And it was like, well, our door's always open to you. Like you guys are family for life. And I gotta say, man, that doesn't happen on every tour. There was something very special about those 5 weeks. What the fuck were we thinking?
5 weeks.
5 weeks spent
It was.
together.
Yeah, it was nutty,
Insane?
man. It was nutty.
Insane.
We said another highlight from that tour was the Possessor van broke down, and we traveled together. Like we weren't sharing gear, were we? Were you guys? Was there any backline share? I don't think there was. I think we all had our own shit because there were one-off shows for Vindicator that we couldn't get anybody else on. And I think you set up a couple shows where we had shows, and you took Possessor, and you guys did shows.
Yeah, there was some of that. Yeah.
We pretty much caravanned everywhere. And Possessor's van breaks down again somewhere in the desert. We're in the middle of fucking nowhere, and they're at a gas station. They convinced the mechanic at the gas station to let them use his tools and to fix the van. The drummer in that band was a mechanic, so he could do it. So we're at this gas station for like 45 minutes. And I mean, there are people coming, patrons buying gas and filling up and going into the store and buying shit. And Possessor used to do like this real like post-apocalyptic vibe. Like they looked like they were extras in Fury Road. So just to give you an idea.
100%.
And Robbie had this like fucking So if you remember like how Raven used to dress on like the Pack is Back and shit, he had like this big shoulder pad with like fucking roofing nails coming out of it, and you know this garb that he wore. And Brian goes up to him while they're broke down. He says, "Hey man, can I wear your stuff?" And Rob's like, "Yeah, sure, put it on." And fucking Brian puts this shit on, and he's climbing on stuff. The gas station has one of those like, I don't know what's in it, oil or gas, you know,
Oil tanker towers.
Yeah, it's like off the ground, and he's climbing on it, and he's doing Robbie used to do these falsetto screams, and he's going, ah! You know, he's hanging off this thing, and he's like approaching people as they're pumping gas. He's like running all over the place, and he's doing that falsetto scream, and we're going, dude, man, we're gonna get kicked out of here, and their van's not fixed yet. And so many wacky things happen. DK went with a troop went out to get a part.
Yeah, we were missing something.
They had to drive to like an adjacent town, like 20 minutes down the road or a half hour down the road to get this part. They come back, and I think it was you open the side van door while you're driving down the road. Me and James are looking for lizards, and we look up, and here they come. They throw the door open, you know, just act like maniac. The part falls out of the van while it's moving, hits the road, didn't break. But we never got like arrested by cops or anything, man. Like, so shit was like, we did shit like that. We never really got in trouble for it, but that was a good time. Did you go to were you guys, was Aggressor at the interview in Portland where that guy had the rabbit that was the size of a dog?
Yeah, we went to, it was a podcast in his house. Yeah, Alex something. Dude, those guys kept in touch with me. Yeah.
Ryan C. Brown was on that show. I think
Ryan C. Brown, yeah.
He was, yeah, he's in Green Jelly sometimes as an extra. And dude, the guy had a rabbit, and the thing was the size of like a medium-sized dog. I've never seen a rabbit that big in my life. Do you remember that rabbit?
Yeah, I remember the rabbit. I remember he had like a crazy podcast, like proto podcast, really, if you think about the era.
It was way ahead of its time.
Way ahead of its time. Like it was a round table, and he had headphones and mics for everyone, and there was like black sheets hung everywhere, like to make it look like a professional studio. Like that was cool, it was his fucking garage. Yeah.
It was his garage. Yeah, that was cool as fuck.
We played a house party together where we played in the basement where they fed us all. Like there were some weird shows.
That was the Lincoln show.
Lincoln, Nebraska.
With Joe Coleman. Yeah, we played Lincoln, and Brian started a pit in a basement.
Yeah,
I had to get real. I saved James got knocked into his amp, and his head almost fell off, and did the old. How many times did I have to replug in Brian? I was basically the stage hand when Aggressor would play, because Brian never stopped moving all over the fucking place. Shit got unplugged like 17 times a show. I had to get up there and plug it back in for him. Man, that was what a good time. That was a good time. That was a group effort, man.
You know, really monumental on that tour as well is we played a show with Havoc in their hometown, and years later came to realize like that was Reese Scruggs' first show with Havoc.
It was because the I have a fun story from that. This kid was at the show. He comes up to me and he goes, "Hi." He's all acting weird. He's like, "Hi," and I'm like, "Hey man, what's up?" And he's like, "I'm really excited to see you guys tonight." I'm like, "Oh, that's cool, man. Thanks." And he's like, "So this is your first show with Havoc, right?" And I'm like, "Wait a second." And the gears start to turn. I go, "I'm sorry." And he goes, "Well, you're the new lead player, right?" And I was like, "No, that's him behind me." Kid didn't know who I was. He thought I was Reese.
Dude, that was a wild night as well. We played,
yeah, you guys got in that fight.
We got in a fight. I had to call you. I had to call you and be like, "Hey, Vic and Sarah, it's DK. So your kid brother got into a fight tonight with me, and you got like, is everyone okay? Is everything?" I'm like, "Yeah, everything's fine." I'm like,
"Who's in jail?" That's what.
Yeah. Who's in jail, dude? I almost got arrested. They took my ID, and I was, 19 years old and drunk in America. Very, very illegal. I remember the guy took my ID and just looks at me and he says, "And how old are you?" I'm like, 19. So he's like, "And anything to drink tonight?" And I'm like, "No, I'm totally sober, man." I'm like, couldn't even see straight. I thought I was going to jail for sure that night. We got in a huge fight in Denver. Some guy came up to Jesse. He was wearing those tight white pants. Like, "Nice pants, bitch." And like, just the punches started swinging, man. That was a crazy night in Denver. Then we slept in a trap house where Chris slept in the driveway, and they gave him a shotgun. They're like, "Hey, this is a bad neighborhood. Denver's sketchy as fuck." They're like, "This is a bad neighborhood. Here's a loaded shotgun." And Chris is like, "We're from Canada. We've never even fucking seen a gun before."
We get along. We're nice up here.
Jesse loves recalling that story because he was like, DK was like a superhero, man. That guy threw a punch and he went poof, and he
I
just
caught his punch. Dude, I don't know. I'm like the least aggressive. I fucking hate fight. I fight maximum once a year. Like I'm not a fighter ever in the bar. I'm diffusing fights all the time. And that night, that guy took a swing at your brother and I fucking caught his punch and threw it back at him and he fell over. And they're like, hey, how did fucking 98-pound soaking wet little kid DK just fucking do that, man? Like that was insane. I was a little kid. Yeah, that was a great time.
Jesse, man, Jesse, that fight got him so good because he said something else too. He said something about like, he said what pissed the guy off was some kind of comment about he was wearing like, he said something about the Broncos or something. And Jesse didn't say nothing bad. He was like, the guy said something and Jesse was like, yeah, man, I know I'm from Cleveland. And that's what tipped the guy got pissed because he mentioned he was from Cleveland and he was a Browns fan. And I guess that's what set it over.
Hilarious.
Yeah, that was a good time, man. That was a good time. You guys picked the wrong house, man. Dave's mom made us like some kind of breakfast burritos. Oh,
I know.
They were so fucking good.
So I wake up hungover as shit and like just so confused about where I am. I look around and I'm like sleeping on a mattress with no sheets on it, with all sorts of like very scary, unfamiliar paraphernalia on the ground. Like I was really freaked out. I walked downstairs and there's like 2 pit bulls and like cameras installed in doors and a stripper pole. And I'm like, oh my God, we're literally in a flop house right now. Like, we literally slept in a fucking drug house. This is so scary. So we get the fuck out of there real quick. Like Chris is waking me up. He's like, dude, they gave me a gun to sleep with last night. Let's get the fuck out of here. So we drive over to Dave Sanchez's house and Sarah had just finished serving you guys this unbelievable looking breakfast. And you guys are talking about how you drank beer last night and you were down in the studio and you're hanging out till 3 a.m. And it's like, how was your guys' night? And we're like, we don't want to talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to listen to like, I think it was Time Is Up, like pre-prod on Time Is Up. And we had a great night. That call scared us. We were concerned. Brian was like, is everything okay? Because, Brian would get more fiercely defensive about Chris than I would, even Jesse. So, everybody's okay. No one's in jail. No one got hurt. So everything's good to go. All right. Well, thanks for scaring the shit out of us.
Dude, there are like endless stories from that run. And I tell you, it's like, no one ever wants to talk about it because like no one even knows I did it. But like the lasting impact that those 5 weeks on the road had with you, like that was like, it changed my life forever. Honestly, like it really did set the course for what I would do for the next 10 plus years, honestly. And it's, as I said, I've done many a tour in similar situations and like nothing compares to that. Like I've never, like I would tour with bands and as I said, like not even know some of their names. Like, it's just like, you don't always click with everyone like that. And man, we were all like sharing these hotel rooms and like, just like hanging out with each other nonstop and like sabotaging each other's shows and knowing all the, like knowing all each other's songs and stuff. Like it was just such a, such a thing, man. Like learning each other's riffs. Like that doesn't happen on every tour, man.
Right. I remember Mike Martin, he had that, I think it was him that had that dime guitar with the kill switch on it. He'd be playing riffs live and I'd go up to his guitar and I would hit that button while he was playing. So his guitar would just cut out while he was playing. It was a good time, man. I mean, nothing intensely crazy, which is good. It was actually a pretty safe run. We lucked out, like nobody got hurt. Nobody got thrown in jail. But it was very eye opening and it was an experience to remember.
It's funny you mentioned the Possessor van dying. It died multiple times. And I wanted to bring up, to talk about kind of like that childish enthusiasm and optimism that we all had. Like Possessor were a victim to that as well. Like these guys had never done a tour like this and neither had we. And they showed up. Their hilarious mistake was they showed up in this beater ass van. And instead of just taking the beater ass van for what it was and treating it well, they had welded like 100-pound metal die cut logo on the front of it that said Poser Disposer. And they had,
this is not a joke.
They had decals all over the van that were like Possessor 666 pentagrams, like basically giant signs that said, hey, state troopers, pull us over. Us over. Yeah. Like,
dude, that like, Poser Disposer fucking thing they had on the front of their van, it had to be, it was a V8 van, so they already were getting like 5 miles to the gallon, and you add that fucking thing that was just cutting you down even more, man. They probably got like 3 miles a gallon. I mean, it hurt them. And they also had like wired up a television into like the van's like electric system, so they could play like PS2 in the back. And then, oh man, they were eating like cold Progresso soup, like straight out of the can. These guys were straight up from Mad Max.
Yeah.
Like they were from a Mad Max movie. Like I said, just watch them cup fucking cold chicken noodle soup out of the fucking can and just, I'm like, fuck, dude, you're going to heat that up? No, it's fine. Man, they had cases of Progresso in their tour, trailer. That's what they had in there. Got a scratch and dent deal.
Yeah, those guys were wild, man. Those guys were wild. And like, as you said, like the shit they wore on stage, we kept comparing them to like, it was like Kerry King and fucking Hanneman type spikes. Like those, like, not just like little like gauntlets with some spikes, like those giant ass like
roving nails.
Yeah, roving nails, man. It was like insane.
Like 50 pounds. I don't even know how Kevin held his arm up, man. He had 50 pounds of roving nails on his forearm. Holy shit. I remember my string broke in Seattle and I had to use his guitar, and he's like way more giant than me. And of course he's got like a chain like stitched to the strap so you can't adjust it. And I had to play my last song with his guitar because they were in D standard as well. Like I had to prop it up on my knee, real awkward. Everything was so awkward about that set because like, you know, I couldn't, it was down to like my knees if I stood up, you know, and it's like, holy shit. Even if I'm not crouching, I can't do this. And wow, man, those guys were trips, man. They had like a couple cop lights on there. They used full stacks. It's like a club tour, and they were using full fucking stacks. And the drummer,
oh my god, the drums with the cymbals up high.
the drummer had custom made the
Nick Menza.
Yeah, the Nick Menza, and it was all just, and there were also custom like metal pentagrams hanging from it.
Oh,
everything was just not. It just wasn't. But they were for real, man. They were for real. They weren't fucking around. I mean, they weren't real Satanists, but they weren't fucking around with their stage show and their vibe, man. They were serious about it. They finally did get rid of the poser disposer like thing, fell off on the highway somewhere. And they couldn't get it again, man. It was just gone on that tour. Some fucking road crews, you know, cleaning the road. What the fuck is this poser disposer? Man, true. Good times, man.
That was an insane trip, man. I like from playing like actual legit venues to hotel lobbies to little clubs like Seattle was a cool club. I remember that show was actually really cool. But like San Francisco, we played that weird like converted house that like some people lived in. It had a pinball machine and like just I'm like, dude, like real interesting nights there. And you know, being in Ohio and same with your family, and being in Chicago and same with kids' family, like kind of like bouncing around, sleeping like the nights that we weren't sleeping in parking lots, we were all like, it'd be like 11 of us in sleeping bags in someone's living room, and it'd be like someone would make a fart joke at 3 a.m. It's like it literally felt like you were at like a childish sleepover every night. It was awesome.
Yeah, we did that. We stayed with our bassist at the time. We stayed with his grandmother, I think it was, and
she was the one making the fart jokes.
You know, no, but it was funny because that's where Possessor linked up with us. And when they got there, the hazing started immediately. We had already played shows with Aggressor prior to that tour. And so the hazing started immediately. They show up and we're like, did you bring us beer? And they were like, oh, no, we didn't know we had to. Yeah, you do. Go get us beer. I mean, we were dicks like that, like right out of the gate. We did that immediately. And they go to get us beer, and they're all excited. And they have video cameras. Whoops, they left the video camera with us. The first thing we did was get our asses out. It was like fucking 14 bare asses.
Them. I forgot how bad we hazed them. Oh,
they never talked about it. And like, so like a year later, I was finally like, hey, did you guys ever watch that video? And they were like, yeah, we know what you guys did. We know what you did. Pretty sure Brian got his dick out. Like we were all like, we'll just move.
He was naked every night, man.
Penis.
Yeah. That guy has gotten us kicked out of so many venues, like in the lifetime that I've known him, for just like absolutely whipping out his cock and balls on stage. In Montreal one night, he asked the promoter to like, they're like, hey, can you sign this contract to say you got paid? And he's like, hey, can you sign my nutsack? And like pulls out his nuts and hands them a Sharpie. And I'm like, dude, like this guy is just way too into being naked all the time.
Yeah, he is a trip, man. It was a trip. Good times, man.
We
could literally do an entire episode on
that tour.
that tour, man.
You should like bring up the tour dates on an episode one day and see like if we can remember like the venue from each one and the story from each one. Like, I don't find I have the greatest memory, and still like just talking to you, like the memories come flooding back.
They do. That's, I don't remember shit either until you start talking about. We stopped.
Totally.
We have a lot of photos from that. We stopped in Gothenburg because we're like, oh, Gothenburg. We all pulled it. We saw the sign and everyone pulled over and we posed next to the sign, take a picture of it because it said Gothenburg. We're all climbing on it. No cops. I mean, nobody. We were like all over that sign. It's a small ass town. All these fucking crazy looking long hairs. People are driving by like going, what the fuck? What's Gothenburg? That means nothing to you, but it means a lot to us. Are we going to see COP in here? Ha ha. Yeah. Well, we were dumb, man, but it was loads of fun. It was a, a full month of just shenanigans. It was a good time.
Dude.
Real good time.
Honestly, set the absolute course for the rest of my life, that tour. Seriously. Like and not if, there will. One day I would love to do a book about all this crazy shit because God knows if I don't write it down, I'll forget it. And like that, that era is like that does not get skimmed over. That's a very formative time for me in figuring out that that heavy metal was like a family, and that, being on the road, making money or not, it didn't matter. Like you kind of always had each other. And when someone didn't feel well, everyone was taking care of them. And if someone was sad or got some bad news from home, like we all came together as a family. Like, there was tense moments, there were happy moments, there were tears, laughter, cries, and diarrhea. It was amazing.
Yeah.
All the bodily fluids.
There it is.
That's
there
all
it
the
is.
bodily fluids.
We did a lot of secreting. A lot of secreting on that tour.
Coming out both ends tour.
It was a wet tour.
Every orifice.
Yep. Every orifice violated. That's fantastic. Well, now that you're on maybe this side of things, maybe not, on the tour, you mentioned, being able to go to venues and taking home water bottles and stuff. Like, do you have anything when you go, do you have a contract rider? Do you have anything kind of quirky or fun in your contract rider, like special food or drinks or clothing? Or do you get like a dozen white roses like Mariah Carey? I mean, anything like crazy in your band's rider at all?
No, like, it's funny. A lot of bands like to put like silly things. Like I know, talking to some like friends when I started making the Exciter rider, because I had an opportunity to do like a real rider. I was like, yeah, what's the most ridiculous thing? And some friends were like, oh, we put there has to be a piece of Iron Maiden memorabilia in our dressing room and like shit like that. And I'm like, so I started kind of toying around with that shit. But you know what I realized is like, trim the fat, ask for things that you actually want and care about, because you're way likely to get everything if you just ask for that shit. Like with Diemonds was funny. We used to put down like salsa extra spicy or we don't want it, kind of things like that. But with Exciter, it's bottled water. Like the only things that are real specific are bottled water, no Dasani. Don't even fucking like not a fucking option. I don't want that. I don't want water that when you turn the cap it goes. Like, good on that. We're good on that. And then honestly, it's not very exciting, but the only fun thing on there is like there's barely any food. There's 2 different kinds of whiskey on it, 3 bottles, two bottles of Johnny Walker Black Label, 1 bottle of Jameson, 2 bottles of dry red wine, 25 beers, local domestic, please. No IPA, no fancy shit. Like just want the local Pilsner lager. And I always put a local delicacy or snack. So sometimes you get like fucking chocolate bars, and sometimes you're in Michigan and you get punchkis and you're like, what the fuck is this? They're like, you're in a Polish neighborhood. These are our famous Polish donuts. I'm like, that's sick. So sometimes it pans out, sometimes it doesn't. But there's no brown M&Ms on our rider or anything like that. None of that quirky shit.
So you end up taking all that whiskey that you don't drink there in the vans with you, and you got like 600 bottles of whiskey by the end of the tour? Is that what?
Here you go. So in the US, we'll often get called out on it. We'll like show up, because Exciter only does so many tickets in the US, and we'll get called on it. They'll be like, hey, like, do you guys really need 3 bottles of whiskey? Like, we can give you 1. We're reasonable. Like, your rider value is like $150. Like, we'll give you 1. But in Europe, whatever we ask for, we get it, like to the T. Like if I ask for 6 Red Bulls, 9 Powerades, and 11 bottles of water, like the numbers are perfect. Everything's laid out when you walk in. So inevitably, like, you get 3 bottles of whiskey, 24 beers and 2 bottles of red wine every night. Like, we're 3 people. Like, that's like ridiculous. So on the last Euro run I did with Exciter, at the end of the tour, we were in one of those sprinters. And at the end of the tour, we gave our driver 17 bottles of sealed whiskey.
Yes. That's amazing.
Like, and that was after we all took 2 in our luggage, because you can, like, whatever the legal amount that you're allowed to bring through without paying a tax on it. We like each took our 2 bottles of preference and a bottle of wine or whatever we wanted. And then we gave to our driver who was just driving back to Poland. We're like, hey man, like, you want all this whiskey? And he's like, fuck yeah, I want all this whiskey. Like, just like
I got a long drive. I need something to drink.
Like, just an insane amount of liquor. Yeah, it's really fun, man. We like, that's at the end of the night. Sometimes we don't even have enough room for all the leftover shit. It's like, hey, is your backpack already full of everything? Like, open your suitcase. Let's get some more whiskey in there. Like, it's like, just, scoop it all up and bring it on the road. We try not to waste. Just try and, take it all. Don't, because if you leave it at the venue, it's getting thrown out. So don't leave anything behind. Take the waters, take the whiskey, take the chocolate, whatever. Just take it with you.
Now you know why the big bands have like the giant Greyhound buses. They by the end of the tour, the half of it's full of whiskey.
It's just full of whiskey.
Yeah,
Let's be
right.
real here.
Exactly. Maiden's got a jumbo jet. Now we know why.
Just full of whiskey.
Right,
Whole
exactly.
distillery. There's a whole distillery.
Yeah, Whiskey
on
Force
Ed
One, I
Force
think.
One.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Nice. Well, let's do some hypothetical kind of fun questions for you there, Daniel. You're creating a 1-day festival. All right. What 5 bands do you want to play at this festival, and who's headlining?
Festival is consisting of so it's completely fictional and unrealistic, so I can do whatever I want. So it's
anything you want, right?
So it's a 1976 Kiss headlines with their like full 76 Spirit of 76 stage show. I would also want Maiden from the Peace of Mind tour on there. I would also want a Led Zeppelin on there before John Bonham dies. So like it'd be late Zeppelin too, because I want all the late shits, like 79, like right before Bonham dies. I want that Zeppelin to play. Because the late shit is so, like, let's be fucking real here. Presence and physical graffiti for life. And who else is gonna play? Then I'd probably put my Greasy shit on there. I'd be super selfish and want to see a Never Neverland era Annihilator play.
Yes.
I've seen Annihilator like a dozen times, but like, modern Annihilator, I want to see like the Annihilator. I want to see that shit. I don't, I've seen like with Dave singing and Jeff singing and all that shit. I want Never Neverland era Annihilator. And I would want Violence and Force era Exciter to play as well.
Nice.
That's a great lineup.
Yeah, man. That's like me, like rock and roll, thrash, and like traditional new wave of British heavy metal is truly like my shit. That's my stuff right there.
Excellent.
Who headlines? Who's the headliner?
That was the Kiss.
Kiss is the headliner.
You know what?
Gotcha.
It'd be like a Monsters of Rock situation where like Kiss and Maiden are kind of like, get the 2-hour sets, but everyone else gets an hour set too. It's like a big
Gotcha.
Headliners, all day, baby.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, speaking of metal, okay, an alien shows up, drops down out of the sky, and asks you to represent metal in 3 songs. What are those songs and why?
Judas Priest, Painkiller.
Nice.
Slayer, Black Magic.
And
Razor, Take This Torch, I suppose.
Oh, nice. Good choice.
Yeah, just kind of like why, like, to me, that's kind of like, you've got like all your food groups there. You've got like the technical approach of that like 90s Priest vibe between the drums and the sweeping guitar solos. You've got the more like raw speed punk thrash crossover vibe of that early Razor shit. And it's just like, to me, that's like true heavy metal is right there in those kind of vibes. I mean, new wave of British heavy metal and American thrash, and I guess it's Canadian thrash, but that new wave of British heavy metal and like North American thrash is truly where where my tastes lie. And I love like the rawness and like that punk attitude of the early 80s shit. But like, I do really like once metal got a little more polished around the edges, and you got into more of like that, you know, technical production and like insane fucking drums and like, holy shit, like harmonized sweeping guitar solos. Like, I do like that late 80s approach to it too. So, I mean, those are all kind of like, you know, my favorite. If in Alien landed, I'd toss them that on a mixtape, and I feel like they'd probably just blow a load, and that'd be.
They're dead. You've
no need to invade
you've saved
now.
us.
That's right.
Yeah, the Earth is
Independence Day.
saved. Good answer.
Mhm. Are you into horror at all? Like horror movies and stuff like that?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
What are some of your favorite horror movies?
So I really like shocking, more 80s shit. I love like campy 80s stuff. I grew up watching like, you know, Nightmare on Elm Street religiously with my old man. And I gravitate a lot towards like the campier, like tongue in cheek. Like, I don't really like any of this modern, like very serious and like gory, like just fucking vile. And like, you have to look away and everything's so serious. I'm more like this, like campy vibe of the 80s, and even with modern ones like Cabin in the Woods type vibe for a modern movie, like stuff where it's just like, oh my god, there's a spooky voice, we better not go in there, so let's all fucking go in there kind of thing, you know. Like, I really like that with like, you know, the classic, like the jocks get killed first, and like the quiet shy nerdy dude ends up being the hero. Like this really cliche 80s like slasher horror thing is really my shit. So any of those classics and any of the more modern stuff that is a real tribute to that classic shit. And I mean, that's demonstrated in Diemonds. We like fully exploited our love for horror. We did a music video for one of our songs called Get the Fuck Out of Here, where we shot it in an old 80s projection booth in Toronto. And the whole theme of the music video was that we all one by one get murdered by this ominous character, like very tongue in cheek 80s kind of 3D glasses type music video. So yeah, I love anything campy, anything slasher. I don't like my horror too serious.
Nice. Well, what do you do for fun? Like when to unwind? Like at the end of the day, like when
I'll
you're
tell
done
you
with
what he does for fun. This fucking dude. I only know one other person that loves pinball machines as much as this fucking guy. Tell him about your love of pinball machines.
It's like goes back to just like 80s arcade culture, man. Like I grew up, like my dad kind of put on a pedestal to me, like finding a good arcade. He's like, you find an arcade and you find the machine you like, and you make like he used to say you make a quarter last 3 hours, but like for me growing up, it was more like you make $5 last 3 hours, you know, inflation and all that. But yeah, like I really gravitate a lot towards pinball. I like classic late 80s and early 90s pinball machines. And yeah, like on tour, on that Aggressor, Vindicator, Possessor run, I remember in Vegas, I just like disappeared for 5 hours in the middle of the day, and everyone's like, it was before, you know, you could just text someone and find out where they were. It was a little harder to get cell phones to work the way you wanted them back then. Yeah. And especially in another country. And everyone's like, where the hell were you? And I'm like, well, I was at the Pinball Hall of Fame. Like that's what I wanted to do in Vegas. Everyone else was like, let's go to casinos, let's go to this. It was like strip clubs and all you can eat buffets and all the cliche Vegas stuff. And I'm like, nah, man, like I went to the World Pinball Hall of Fame and played 16 different pinball machines. Like that's my shit. I worship pinball. It's the only video game that I'm truly good at. So I'll like at the end of a long day, I will go to the bar. Like I will pick my bar based on what pinball machines are at that bar, essentially. That's why Portland's one of my favorite cities in the world, because it's like the home of good coffee, good strip clubs, and good pinball bars.
You have a favorite pinball machine? I mean, pinball was something like when I was in grad school, we went out to a great pizza place every Thursday night, and they always had 3 pinball machines. One was a Pinbot, and one was a Star Trek original series pinball machine, and there was a Fun House or a rotating one, and we would spend a couple hours playing pinball. So I totally get that. So do you have a favorite pinball machine?
Totally. I mean, the whole Pinbot family is great. Pinbot, Bride of Pinbot, all that shit. All those machines are great. They're a little hard for my liking, and like they're
simple. They're like
Yeah.
old school, man, really old stuff.
Yeah, like I kind of like, for me too, like a big part of pinball for me is I get off on the branding. So like Creature from the Black Lagoon is one of my favorites. The Addams Family has got to be one of the greatest machines of all time. I like the games that are like generic. I mean, you mentioned Funhouse too, is an absolute classic. I like some of those like more generic games, but like the ones that are good gameplay and good branding, I think Addams Family's got to be up there. In, you know, ask me on any day of the week, you might get a different answer, but I'll say Addams Family's got to be my favorite machine. It's a fucking perfect game, and it's not that easy. It's not very forgiving. You kind of have to know what you're doing if you want to set a high score on that one. But I love the moderns, dude. Some of these modern machines coming out right now are insane. Like
Very busy. All kinds of things to do. That
Full
makes it
color
exciting as a player.
screens.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
dude.
videos and sound effects and
Yeah.
multiple levels. You know, yeah, it makes it very fun as a player.
Yeah, the classic, the Terminator, I think it's T3, has like an RPG mini game in the back glass.
Oh, wow.
Which is like, yeah, like if you hit a certain combo, all of a sudden you look at the back glass and there's like an RPG kind of game where you shoot a ping pong at targets and like, yeah. So I love the Terminator machines were great. And yeah, Addams Family, dude, that's a fucking class. If I walk into a bar and there's an Addams Family, like I'll start playing before I even order a drink sometimes. I love it.
Nice. The Star Trek original series has that RPG element too. You can shoot the Klingons.
Yeah, yeah,
you
exactly.
lock a ball in, you shoot the Klingon ship to get the ball released. So that's pretty cool.
Hell yeah.
Nice. Guys, we've never done this before, but we had this thing called Blast Beats. Real short, simple questions. We don't want you to think about it. We're just going to ask you a choice. You just give us the answer.
Cool.
Blast Beat. Hot dog or hamburger?
Hamburger.
Ketchup or mustard?
Mustard.
Favorite pizza topping?
Pepperoni.
Paperback or Kindle?
Paperback.
Netflix,
Yes.
Prime, Hulu or Disney?
VHS.
Nice. PC or Apple?
Recently a PC convert.
Good for you. Welcome to the club. And favorite ice cream flavor?
Mint chocolate chip.
Nice. Okay, Blast Beats. That was quick.
I like that.
Stuff.
That's
Good answers.
good.
Good answers.
That's a good one.
Yeah. That's a fun thing. You know, we try to come up with new things to do. You know, every show, come up with new stuff.
That was a good one.
All right, good. Thanks. I'm gonna have we're gonna mention a band, and I want you to tell me your favorite album by that band.
Okay.
All right. Black Sabbath,
Master Reality.
Judas Priest,
Unleashed, and if it has to be a studio record, then Stained Class.
Halloween,
Keeper. Are you fucking kidding me?
Rush,
Don't have a favorite Rush record. How sacrilegious is that for a Canadian?
What?
Should I have asked Triumph? Would that have been better?
No, it wouldn't have.
Okay. No
April
power
Wine.
trios for you. It's all right, man. It's okay. Opeth,
Blackwater.
Dream Theater,
Don't have one. Too proggy. That's like I kind of like start to draw my line. Like Opeth, I live with that, and like the Gojira style of prog, like for the modern prog stuff, I love that. But Dream Theater, it's like kind of like where I start to draw that line where it's a little too like power metal-y prog for me.
sure. Okay. Iron Maiden,
Oh, fuck you, man. Power slave, but it depends on what day of the week you ask me.
okay. Anthrax,
Yes, among the living or spreading the disease, depending on what day of the week you ask me.
yeah. Slayer,
Again, show no mercy or rain, depending on what day you ask me.
and Kiss.
Good. How much time you got? Right now, I'll say Hotter Than Hell.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'd like to hear that album with a different mix. You know, so it's not so sludgy, but I like the sludginess of it.
Yeah,
Great
it kind of
tracks,
sounds like heroin rock almost. It's like real dark sounding, and it's the only Kiss record that sounds like that. And I think the songs are great, and that Strange Ways Peter Criss vocal is like just like that's
Parasites are fucking ripper.
Dude, some of their best songs, like I think that's one of their heaviest records by far. And
oh yeah,
that production really lends to it as well. Like it's like super dark sounding.
Yeah, I mean, compare that to the sound production of Dress to Kill, which is so thin and tinny.
It's a blues record.
It's like night and day, but it's got, those are some great songs too.
It's like Thin and Tinny on Dress to Kill, super sludgy and dark sounding on Hotter Than Hell, and then like beyond arena rock production for Rock and Roll Over. Like it's actually that record could come out today and be like an arena rock record. It's like massive sounding.
I think Love Gun has a really good, of all the earlier albums, Love Gun and then the first album, I think I have really good sound production.
I did like an entire 2-hour podcast about why I don't really like Love Gun.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I defend Destroyer over Love Gun, which a lot of people are reverse on. A lot of diehard Kiss fans kind of like leave Destroyer out of their top 5. No, I leave Love Gun out of my top 5. I throw Destroyer in my top 5.
But Destroyer does have the coolest album cover of all time, though.
Fuck yeah, Ken Kelly, dude. You talk about meeting your heroes. I got to meet Ken Kelly once, and I was invited to a Comic-Con to be the panel host of the Ken Kelly talk. It was awesome. I basically I interviewed Ken Kelly in front of a room full of people and like moderated the chat. It was awesome. And then I gave him a bunch of edibles and got him real baked. It was rad.
Nice. So you enjoy the Sweet Leaf as well. Very nice.
Yeah, dude. Fuck yeah. Smoke weed every day, all day.
That's life goals right there, man.
Yeah.
Playing music and smoking weed. What more do you want?
Yeah, maybe some beer too is cool.
Yeah.
Too.
Nice. Excellent. Well,
meaningful, lasting relationships, those are important as well.
Right, with beer and weed and rock and roll, right? Exactly.
Longest relationship of my life. Yeah, fuck yeah.
Nice. Do you have any plans for this year? Like what are your plans like music wise for 2022?
Yes, so in March, I'll be down in South America with Exciter. In April, I'll be doing some US dates with Exciter and another band to be announced. I'm filling in for some good friends who need a dude to do a tour. So I'll be in and around the States in April. And then the rest of the year is split between little like 2-week runs in and around Europe, going in for like festivals on the weekends and doing club shows during the week with Exciter. So lots of shows. If all goes as planned, this year probably about 100 shows, which is really
wow, nice. Are you going to be in our area? Are you going to be in the Cleveland area with Exciter?
Yeah, like 100% in September, October. I'll be like doing full coast to coast kind of with Exciter. Triple headline bill actually. Exciter and 2 other really, really great bands.
So you gotta let us know so we can come see you, right?
Oh, absolutely. I'll probably end up trying to book a day off in and around Ohio so that I can ask Vic if I can go stay at his parents' house.
Yeah, nice. They'll let you. There's less people there now too, so it's more roomy.
That's all, dude. Nothing but love for the Stone family, man. Absolutely love those people. Great folks, and it's crazy to think, man. Like first met you, and I was like 19 years old.
Yeah, man.
If you get us all stage passes,
absolutely. If you're coming through, you gotta stop. You haven't even been to the new house yet, man.
No, I haven't. I think last time I visited you guys, you were living in an apartment complex. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Stop out, stay.
Got to see the new spot. Got to see the fam. There's even family members I haven't met yet. So let's get.
No, I think you met both the kids. We brought them to the Diemonds show, and when you guys.
I forgot about that. You guys came to that hilarious biker bar show. That was so funny.
Yes, dude, we were there.
We had the cutest fan club ever. Everyone was all we had the goddamn. What a good looking family you got, all dressed up in Diemonds gear. Goddamn, I love you guys. I forgot about that. That was in the weird middle of nowhere, Ohio.
Yeah, it was in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. So that, not to keep dragging on and coming up with great stories, but like after that show, a guy came up to us and was like, or right before we played, was like, "Hey, do you want to come over to my place and shower before the show?" And I'm like, actually, dude, we got like an hour until we play. Like, there's probably only time for one of us to shower. The rest of us got to get ready. Like, we'll send Priya with you. She can grab a shower now. The rest of us, if that's cool, like we'll come and take turns and shower after the show. And he's like, "I have 7 showers." And we're like,
wow.
And we're like, who the fuck has 7 showers? So we all get in the van and follow him to this like gated property where he, no exaggeration, the largest house I've ever seen in my life. We stayed there. We each had our own bedroom with our own ensuite bathroom. There were like 3 kitchens. It was like a mansion in the truest essence of the word, with like a gatekeeper and everything. Like there was like staff and like And then I was hanging out in his garden and I got stung by a wasp about 40 minutes before we played. My whole hand was swollen and I had to play anyways. Wild show. Faster Pussycat played that show too.
Yeah. Yep.
Wild.
Yep.
Middle of nowhere, Ohio. Crazy. Dude, the biggest mansion I ever seen in my life. Everyone moved to the middle of nowhere, Ohio if you want to get a giant mansion.
Yeah, we pretty much live there right now. So
Yeah, there you go.
where we live.
There you go.
Do not have a mansion though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's great because when we come, we're gonna get those all stage passes. We're gonna taunt you from the side of the stage like you were doing, with the other bands. So
I'll hook it up.
We can't
I'll
wait.
hook it up.
Nice. Yeah, we're
Hell
all
yeah.
gonna be there, man. And
Amazing.
We'll get baked with you. That'll be awesome.
Hell yeah. Yeah,
So-
this has been really fun. Chop Top, Montag, Dreadbull, and the Wildcard. I
A
mean,
wild card.
never once have I called you the Wildcard before. I'm gonna keep just calling you Vikram like I do.
That's fine. You call me whatever you want.
Yeah, that wild card kind of came about when doing our show.
Mhm.
I don't know. He just kind of like said like, yeah, I can.
Everybody
You
had
never
cool
know what
names,
I'm gonna
and I didn't-
say or do. I'm like, I'm the wild card. I'm like, that's 6. That works.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm the rebel. I'll do what the fuck I want. I'm some kind of wild card. So
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah, we kept on seeing him like draw the tattoos on every show though. He said, hold on,
Yeah.
I gotta make my,
I
gotta make
draw
myself
my
look
tats on.
presentable,
Gotta be the cool looking guy.
Gotta look the part, right? Someone's gotta be. Sure, it's not us.
Daniel, you got to catch our episode where we roasted Vic and we discussed the new Vindicator album. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It
That was
is on
great.
there.
Big digs on that
Thankfully,
one.
Billy didn't quit after that episode, so it's good.
Yeah, he wants to come back on with.
We were nice to Billy.
with his new band, with Macabre and other bands.
Yeah, you should
so-
bring Macabre on here. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm waiting. We got Volcana coming on, so so Dan, maybe you could come back and roast Vic when we have Volcana on. You can come back. and give us
Anytime.
some- That'd be great. This has been
Thanks.
great. Guys, do you have any?
Fantastic.
I mean, I don't want to keep him all night. Do you guys have any more questions that you'd like to ask? Any more stories that you want to hear?
Is there anything, I guess one last question, Daniel, Banger TV, anything up and coming you can tell us about?
Yeah, there's always stuff in production and always ideas coming. For Banger, we're about to launch a Twitch channel, so we're gonna be doing more live content
nice.
on a new platform. We've solely been Patreon and YouTube based up until now, but I've kind of trailblazed a bit in Twitch in the past 2 years and convinced them to hop on board. And we're going to be doing a Banger TV Twitch channel, and there's another scripted series in the works. And there's always exciting projects going on with Banger. It's classic film company situation though. These kind of projects have to get funding and get greenlit before we can totally jump into them. So if there's a dozen ideas that are on the table right now, hopefully we see 3 of them come to life this year.
Oh, excellent.
Nice.
Thank you.
Hell yeah.
That's cool, man. That's great. Daniel, before we take off, would it be too much to ask for you to do a bumper for us? This is Daniel
Yeah, of
Dekay
course.
of Diemonds and Banger TV, and you're watching and listening to heavy metal horror and whatever else you want to add on to that.
Yeah, sure. Heavy metal horror. That's all I got to say.
Heavy metal horror. That's who we are.
Yep.
Yeah.
Got it. Hey, this is Daniel Dekay from Exciter, Diemonds, Banger TV, and way too many other things to list. And you are listening to Heavy Metal Horror.
Excellent. Thank
Beautiful.
you so much, man.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you for being on today, man. We have had a blast listening to your stories, and please know you're welcome anytime.
Hey, you guys are legends. Thank you so much for having me. As I told Vic, he can ask me to do anything, anytime, and I'm always there.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it,
bud.
Daniel.
Yeah, we certainly appreciate it. So yeah. All right, we're going to do our outro here. You can find Heavy Metal Horror on unsaneradio.com. Listen to full episodes or download to your device. You can find us on Facebook, Heavy Metal Horror Podcast. On Instagram, look for Montag Lewis. That's one word. Our YouTube page, if you're watching, you're on right now, Heavy Metal Horror Podcast. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button like Daniel Dekay is going to do. And if you know someone who'd like our show, tell them about us. This has been Montag, Master of Illusion.
Chop Top.
And Dreadbull.
Wildcard.
All right, Dan.
Daniel Dekay texting his mom to tell her to follow on YouTube as well.
Nice.
Sweet.
Sweet. Yeah. Tell your audiences of Banger TV.
That might put us up to 100.
That's right. Go to YouTube, find Heavy Metal Horror Podcast, and subscribe. You've been watching and listening to, and Daniel, bring up your horns. Heavy Metal.
Ah.
Oh, Oh, it broke.
You broke your mic.
You broke your mic. Can you do that again? Maybe not so loud.
Nah, that's it. That's what you get.
That's what you get. We broke the mic. All right.
Nice.
Hey, man. Oh, this has been great. Thank you so much.
Thanks, bud.
Thanks for having me, guys. It's been a real fun time.
This is Doug Helvering, and you have been listening to Heavy Metal Horror, the best podcast that you've never heard before.